Can Harvard beets be canned?
What? Hey y'all, my name's Tyler. I'm a senior in Quincy House studying molecular and cellular biology and linguistics. And today, my peers and I are going to answer the most Googled questions about Harvard.
Do Harvard students wear uniforms? No, they do not. You can wear whatever you'd like. Although I will say I have seen some people with vintage basketball jerseys at parties. So that's a uniform, I guess.
Do Harvard students graduate debt-free? Luckily, we have a really robust financial aid program designed to make sure any student can come here regardless of their financial background. We're totally need blind as an institution, which means you apply. There's no need to sort of say what your parents make. And then once you get in, you will talk with a financial aid officer if need be to discuss a package that makes the most sense for you. This really does work to ensure that most Harvard students graduate in a place that they feel comfortable.
Do Harvard students have free time? Honestly, it's a little hard to have free time, but we do. I see people hanging out Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Honestly, throughout the week, whenever we're able to make time, we'll be getting coffee with our friends, meals, or just going out to parties and finding ways to de-stress. We're human too.
All right. Do Harvard students live on campus? So I think the number is about 97% of students live on campus because campus housing life is just so integral to essentially life on Harvard's campus. So we have the 12 upperclassmen houses that you sort of get randomly assorted into, and each house has their own flavor and culture and amenities, and it really makes for a unique experience at Harvard, I think. And so most people do live on campus, though the option to live off campus is available if that's something that suits you better.
Does Harvard require SAT? This is a more recent change in our admissions process, but now you are not required at all to apply with any standardized testing scores. We know people have had different experiences during the pandemic. Everyone comes from a different background, and we don't want to prevent or discourage anyone from applying based on an inability to go take a standardized test.
Does Harvard interview all applicants? Unfortunately, they can't. They only have a certain amount of alumni that can run a certain amount of interviews in each location. So whether you live in the US or in a country on the other side of the globe, there's no guarantee that you'll get an interview.
Does Harvard have a football team? Yes, we have a football team. We have a Division I sports team. And one really cool, fun tradition we have is the Harvard-Yale game. This past year it was at Yale, and then all Harvard students get to go to Yale and watch the game. It's a really big deal. It's a lot of fun.
Does Harvard have early decision? We actually use something called early action, which is a little different than early decision. Basically, this is non-binding, which means that you're welcome to apply to us early. You submit your applications in November to be considered in an earlier cycle of students in a smaller pool. But if you are admitted, this is a non-binding agreement. You are not compelled to come with us, although most people do decide to.
Can Harvard give athletic scholarships? I'm not an athlete, but I believe that the Ivy League in general doesn't give athletic scholarships, and that the only way that you receive any kind of financial aid is based off of need alone.
Can Harvard beets be canned?
What? I don't understand this question. Well, if it was BATS, I'd be like, oh yeah, I think we have really good music.
Yeah, I'd say can all the beats, package them up, sell it, and see what happens. Let the free hand of the market dictate it, baby. That's what I would say.
Can Harvard alumni use the library? I also am not quite sure the answer to this question. I sure hope we can, because I would like to use the library after I graduate. But I do know we have a really extensive alumni connection and network. I don't know if they can go to the library, though. I think you need an ID.
What do Harvard interviewers ask? Yeah, this is a great question. And I think the interview is something that brings a lot of people, myself included, a lot of anxiety. You should really think of the interview like a conversation. It's very casual and it's nothing super scary.
What do Harvard dorms look like? This really, really varies depending on where you live. In your freshman year, you are randomly sorted into one of our freshman first-year dorms. on Central Campus. These are buildings that are really old. Some of them have been around since since the 1600s, I think. Most of them are more 1800s. But although they look old on the outside, of course, they're refurbished on the inside. Some of those are pretty classic old Harvard architecture. You definitely will have a bathroom for your hall or your suite. You'll have a single or a double, a common room for most people. And then as an upperclassman, when you're sorted into one of our 12 upperclassmen houses for the next 3 years, that can vary a lot more. I'm in Mather House, which is a little bit of a brutalist concrete jungle, we like to call it.
All right, what do Harvard admissions officers look for? There is no perfect answer to this, and I'm honestly not sure. I don't think any student who is in Harvard or who's been accepted really knows what the admissions officer saw in their own application or what they continue to look for when new students get admitted. So just be yourself, answer the questions as honestly as possible and really think, is Harvard a good fit for you? Do you want to come here? And if it is, then it'll show in your application and you'll be here. So don't worry.
What do Harvard students do after graduation? Personally, after graduation, I would love to move to New York and make some music, but that's a couple years away. So I'm not sure where that's gonna actually land. They do a lot of cool stuff. It's pretty amazing. Some of my friends are writing for Netflix or interning for district attorney's office of Manhattan. There's a whole range of things people do, and it's all really, really cool. And the people who are still figuring it out, super cool for them as well. There's nothing wrong with figuring it out.
How do Harvard students study? Well, we study like every other student does, in a library or other quiet places. But personally, I really enjoy going to cafes, places with a lot of light and noise, just because I find that sometimes when I'm reading a hard or long text, it's hard to concentrate or stay focused. I know that it depends on your concentration. For example, I'm social studies, so I have a lot of reading and writing to do. It kind of depends on what classes you're taking, etc.
How do Harvard students take notes? Yeah, I think this is one of those things that just really depends on the Harvard student. I personally like to go into class with just a pencil and a notebook. And a lot of people will use tablets or take notes on laptops. But no, I like to kick it old school. I think it helps me sort of remember things a lot easier when I just write down what I'm hearing and sort of translating it into written word.
How do Harvard admissions work? So basically, you write your name down on a slip of paper and you throw it into a glass ball, and they shake it and then they break the glass, and then the first paper on top, they draw that, and then that's one name, and they keep doing that until they get to all 6,000 undergrads. Nah, I'm playing. So Harvard admissions are really straightforward. You just go online to the prospective undergraduates page, and you can see all the requirements laid out. There's a Common App component, and then some letters of rec. Kind of the whole spiel. They want to get a good portrait of you as a human being. After that, they look at all the stuff and they say yes or no.
How do Harvard students make money? I should probably find some ways to make money right now, but as a junior, luckily there's no pressure. There are a lot of on-campus work opportunities as well. I do work for the admissions office, which has been really rewarding. I've had friends who worked in the libraries, at cafes. One of my friends was even a bartender for one of our campus taverns. So there are a lot of ways to make some money on the side on campus.
Can anyone apply to Harvard? Yes, anyone can apply to Harvard, so just do it. I know I was afraid that I wasn't gonna get in or I didn't have what it takes to get in. Just apply because you never know, and I think everyone who gets in usually has the craziest stories of how they were almost not going to apply, so everyone.
What kind of students does Harvard accept? Great question. I get this question a lot. A lot of people ask, what is the Harvard student? And what I would say is that it's just somebody that's really passionate about something and they want to share that passion with somebody else. So for example, my best friend is a huge knitter, and she actually taught me how to knit, and we sort of had these little knitting circles. I think that in summary kind of really just sort of explains the Harvard student and who Harvard admits. It's somebody that loves what they do and loves showing other people what they love to do. It really creates a cool collaborative community when you get here, and it opens up a lot of opportunities that you might not get somewhere else.
Finally, is Harvard really that hard to get into? Obviously not, because I got in. Just kidding. all jokes aside, I obviously know that like the 5 or 4% can be really intimidating, but that shouldn't limit your ability or your chance to apply. I think it's worth giving it a shot if it's something you're interested in. Definitely don't let something as like the number or percentages or the name stop you from achieving that goal and giving it a shot. And who knows, you might end up here just like I did. So.
All right, guys, I hope we were able to answer some of your most pressing questions about Harvard. If you want to learn more, feel free to check out some of the other videos on the channel. And yeah, thanks for watching.
What does Beats Be Canned mean? What does it mean, Nicholas? I don't know. You chose these questions.